Let's go up. If you want to go up north, let's go up north. Let's go all the way up to Chicago. I thought I had a Bulls hat somewhere around here, but I guess since the 90s, I gave up on them.
Bulls looking good. The Bulls look like they back.
Don't fuck this up. Don't fuck this up. No. Let's go back to when the Bulls was actually something to talk about. The WGN Bulls, the ones we grew up on. Scotty Trippin is back. I don't know if y'all knew that. That's what we call him on the podcast, Scotty Trippin. So he on the news, got his book out. He making his statements. I'm pretty sure everybody heard the statements by now. But I think me and you agree on pretty much mostly everything that he tripping on what the fuck he talking about. Like, The Last Dance, I don't think it shamed him. I think it was more of it played like a series. Like I watch a lot of TV series. You got to build these characters up. We got to show why Jordan here. Got to show why Pippen here. Got to show why Steve Kerr here. Got to show why Dennis Rodman here. And then we lead up to that last thing. Like you could have made The Last Dance the last 2 episodes if you wanted to, but he gave him a lead up. So I don't know why Pippen tripping off that. I think we agree on that part, right?
Yeah.
All right. I think we agree that he trying to get attention.
Absolutely. Pip Pip is trying to sell his book. That's basically what it was.
Yeah. Right. He feeling unappreciated. That's fine. Give him somebody, give him a hug. Slip a $5 bill, and then take it back if he really don't need it. But but we do disagree on one thing. Pippen said Jordan needed his teammates. Pippen said it wouldn't. Well, I guess Jordan did acknowledge it wouldn't be Michael Jordan without Pippen, but for some reason, when I make the statement that Jordan needed Pippen to be in quote unquote GOAT status, you have an issue with that.
All right, so let me go ahead and address that real quick.
All right.
So
the floor is yours.
Michael Jordan addresses this all the time. Michael Jordan is the person who will continue to say that there is no Jordan without Pippen. He said this at his Hall of Fame speech. He says this damn near every time somebody asks him about Scottie Pippen. When Michael Jordan picked his all-time team, he picked Scottie Pippen, Magic, James Worthy, and Dream. That was the people he picked. He picked Scottie Pippen first, right? And I know he got James Worthy because him and James Worthy played in North Carolina together. So he picked 2 people he played with before. Well, he played with Magic on the Dream Team, but I guess he admires Magic as far as that is concerned. And I don't think him and Dream ever played together, organized basketball at least. But I think he admires Dream's game. So
he ain't played that many good centers.
Yeah, but if they was talking about like your team that you picked, he had Scottie Pippen on that team. I remember when they talked about the fact that they was looking to trade Scottie Pippen for Sean Kemp, and there was like George had called Michael Jordan, and Jordan was like, hell yeah, trade for Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen is going to make the other players better. Sean Kemp is not. And if y'all remember at that time, Sean Kemp was the Rain Man. He was one of those people who, if you in my age category and you collected baseball or basketball or football cards or anything like that, he was one of those people to have. He was one of those, that's me. I'm that guy. So when it came down to without Pip, no, we wouldn't have Jordan as he is, as the GOAT as he is. No. But my rebuttal to that is that's an irrelevant point, because what we're saying is the only thing that we're doing is we're taking Jordan's best running mate away from him and saying, would he still be who he is without him? And I say, no, that's true. But in the 2000s, if we took Kobe away from Shaq, is Shaq still that guy? Is Shaq still winning 3 in a row without Kobe?
No.
If it comes down to LeBron in Miami, is he still winning 2 2 in a row, going to 4 in a row without D Wade? Is LeBron winning that championship in Cleveland without Kyrie? Is LeBron winning championship without AD in LA? Is is uh is Kareem winning 5 more without Magic? Like, if we really go down the list of championships, the the only team that we can really look at and just say, like, okay, if we take the second best player off this team, are they still winning these championships? Is probably the Celtics in the 60s. And it's because they were loaded. But when it comes down to all of the other teams that you look at, where you basically have maybe a big two or a big three, nah, these dudes are not winning championships, and that's part of your legacy. Because one of the things that we look at is, if you have, say, for example, Karl Malone. If we have Karl Malone on the all-time power forwards list, we don't have Karl Malone as number one. And if we compare Karl Malone versus Tim Duncan, like, when we compare their numbers, they're really about the same. I think Karl Malone might have 10,000 more points than Tim Duncan, but we don't even speak of him in the realm of that. We speak of Karl Malone like on a lower tier, as far as we still have him top five, but is he two? Is he three? Is he four? Is he five? Like, what do we have him? So I'm just saying, if you basically take the key to a championship piece, then everybody's GOAT status is going to drop. So that's all I'm saying.
Well, I think I already acknowledged that there's a few people who will still win championships without their second best, and that's, like I said, I pretty much based it on the third option. Like I said, I think LeBron still wins the championship. I think Magic probably wins the championship. Larry Bird, um, maybe Bill Russell, maybe Tim Duncan. Those superstars win without their second piece. I think Scottie Pippen gets disrespected for being a second piece, and I think that's the part where I think we always get misconstrued at. Like, you you can't just replace Scottie Pippen, and you can't just sit there and say, okay, Jordan could walk in with anybody and win those championships. Like, Scottie Pippen was one of the best defenders of the '90s. Like, who you could name Dream and Dennis Rodman, but then you got to start talking about Scottie Pippen. Have to, no matter what. Um, as far as the quote unquote point forward, Pippen started that. I actually have a theory that if Pippen went to the Knicks, Jordan would have less championships, and New York would have a championship in the '90s. That's my take on that. I get it can be picked apart, but yeah, I actually think Pippen was more underappreciated for the player he was. Now, the appreciation he's looking for, no. But as far as Jordan being the GOAT, I think you really can't sit there and say without the 6 championships, Jordan is the GOAT. I think anything less than 6, Jordan is not hands down the GOAT. And as far as his 6 championships, I think we got to look at Scottie Pippen and say, hey, you are literally the second reason that we got these 6 championships. If you take away Scotty, he has less than 6. He might still win 1 or 2, maybe even 3. But I think if he have 3 championships, I don't think people will call him the GOAT. Now, as far as his resume, he'll still be one of the guys. He'll still be the 9-time All Defensive, 10-time scoring champion, 5-time MVP. But the 6 championships actually what solidifies Jordan as the GOAT status. I think we need to give Pippen a little more credit for being a quote unquote Robin.
So look, I'm gonna say this to you, because 3 people that you mentioned Magic, Bird, and LeBron will still have their championships um without their
Not
team
they
that's
no
most
no they will still be a champion.
a champion.
A
No,
champion.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. So with that said, um, when I guess when you have to question how great is their Robin, if that's the case. Like, so let's just when it comes down to Magic, how great is Kareem if we're doing that? Because if we're saying that Magic could still won it without Kareem, or still won championships without Kareem, then how big is Kareem's impact on those championships? Because we compare those championships when you want to make a debate for Kareem, that Kareem has 6 championships, 6 MVPs, like he matches Jordan and all this other stuff. But if we're saying Magic could have still did it without him, then how big is his impact on those championships? Are we saying that Kareem could have did it without Magic? Or are we saying that Magic was more important to those championships? Now the other thing is that I'll say this is LeBron's championship runs, LeBron went to a game 7 every single year. Every single year that LeBron won a championship, he went to game 7. And I can't say that he would win those championships if he's not at full strength. So we know Kyrie had a role on that team. We know Kyrie was a person who basically, like, he was a scorer, and that's what he's really, really good at. Kyrie is really good alongside somebody when he's not expected to facilitate, because I think that's his weakness when it comes down to getting a team involved. So when you can go to Kyrie and say, go score, I think Kyrie is really, really good at that. When you expect Kyrie to go out there and be a point guard, I think he fucks everything up. And I'm saying that for what he did in Boston. So I think that's where things kind of get muddy. So he was really good on side of LeBron.
That's unfair to have him in Boston. Unfair.
Listen, I'm just saying that's cool, but I'm just saying, like, when it came down to him, is just in the role that he thrives in is going out there and score. Larry Bird went to all his championships. I want to say they went to 7 games. So, and Kevin McHale is, when it comes down to in the post, they used to call the post with Kevin McHale the torture chamber, because this man had so many post moves. All right, so we all know about the dream shake and everything, but Kevin McHale don't get no love for the post moves when it comes down to other people. Now, they really used to call that shit the torture chamber. And Kevin McHale, I want to say Kevin McHale, if we're looking at like numbers, like Kevin McHale is like one of the only dudes that has averaged 57% from the field and like 80% from the line. Like this, he was really efficient when it came down to getting him the ball. So you take him out of that, and now all of a sudden Larry Bird is still a champion.
In '86.
And did they what happened in '86? Tell me, because I'm not.
That's when they had that stacked lineup. They had Bill Walton coming off the bench. You mean to tell me they couldn't win a championship with that team?
Could they? Have, who they beat?
Then I forgot they beat in '86. I don't know if it was the Lakers or the Rockets.
I'm wondering who did they beat in '86? Because it might have been. But I'm saying, are they still winning the championship in '86? Like, did they not go?
I mean, I can't solidify and predict that, but I know for a fact they beat the Rockets, so I can say that.
Okay,
I can say without Kevin McHale, they still had Bill Walton come off the bench.
Wait. I think that's the game where is that the year that Larry Bird? No, okay, that's not the year. All right, so yeah, they still win that one. I'll still give them that one.
And again, I think you're trying to mix up what I'm saying. I'm not saying that LeBron's still a 4-time champion. I'm not saying Magic's still a 5-time champion.
No,
I'm saying in 1988, I think without Kareem, Magic and James Worthy still can get that championship.
But in 1988, I don't think Kareem was the best player the second best player at that time. I want to say that would have been James Worthy. So if we taking James Worthy off that team, we're not taking Kareem off that team. Kareem was older at that time.
I'm actually still fine with that because I think Magic was that good.
And I disagree. So I'm just saying, like, when it comes down to this, I'm just saying, like, when it comes down to most of these teams who won championships, if you take the best player off that team or the second best player off that team, then these teams are not winning championships. Most of them. you're gonna probably have one or two champions there. So if we go back and erase Kevin McHale from existence, Larry Bird a one-time
I'm
champion?
not saying that.
No,
I'm
I'm just
basing
saying.
off the question you gave me.
No,
We all talking hypotheticals.
we are talk we are talking hypothetical. So I'm saying if we go back and erase Kevin McHale from existence, Larry Bird is a one-time champion. Is he top five then? Is he top 10 then? Is he how where is he at on in the top 50 players? That's all I'm saying. So I'm just saying, like the point that you made for yes, without Pippen, Jordan wouldn't be GOAT status without Pippen. That is true. But what I'm saying is, if we take away the second best player on every single championship team, that is going to mess the GOAT status up of pretty much everybody that's up there. The only person
100%
who
agree.
probably the only person who probably survives this is Bill, because I think their team was just that stacked. I think that's the only person that survives that.
I 100% agree. That's all I'm saying. As a sidekick, we can't. We gotta stop. I get it. Jordan made Pippen. I'm not. That's not my debate at all. It is gonna be my closing argument on it because I really don't want to sound like I'm helping up for Pippen because I think 97% of shit he's saying is fucking crazy. But I think he does get respected as a sidekick. But yeah, he's had a bigger role than what people say. I think people actually kind of knocks him for being a second option. And I think that's where it's like, nah, because he did his job. He did what he was supposed to do. He elevated his star to where he needed to be. And that's why I think he needed to get his credit at.
So absolutely. So Scottie Pippen does deserve his credit. He deserves all the credit that he gets. Like I think there's a mass amount of people that overrate Scottie Pippen, um, and there's a mass amount of people that underrate Scottie Pippen. And I think that's just correction of people actually trying to rate Scottie Pippen in the right direction. So I think that's just one of the things that's gonna happen with Scottie Pippen. Like when it comes down to Scottie Pippen being respected as far as the league was concerned, when people were drafting players, they were always looking for the next Scottie Pippen. And Scottie Pippen has to get credit for understanding his role because some players do not understand their role. And I think the best things that happen for, well, I wouldn't say that. I will say that, but um, Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan could have wind up having a Kobe Shaq type relationship to where they separated after winning championships. And I think what happened for Scottie Pippen was the fact that when he came in the league in 87, 87, 88, they won in 91. So he didn't really experience that much losing. Like he really didn't experience that. Even when Jordan left for the short time period, like they went to the second round. So it was believed that they could go further than that because of fluke call or something like that. But then the next season, they were like fringe on being a lottery team before Jordan came back. And that's when you see Scottie Pippen like looking at the camera, and I think he had some Jordan 10s on or some shit like that. And he was like, come back, or whatever, like that.
Yeah,
Or
I
he was
remember
looking at
that
the
shit.
camera doing that.
Yeah,
So
he played himself on that one.
So I think that right there was that season was the humbling that Scottie kind of needed to be Jordan's sidekick because I think he felt that he was bigger than what he was, and he wanted to go ahead and chase championships by himself. So I think Jordan retiring when he did was partly to do with him being GOAT status because at that time in your life, well, I wouldn't even say that. I'm lying. I'm thinking about it because that's GOAT status in Chicago because if Scottie Pippen would have left, then they still have the what you call them where Jordan was supposed to sign with the Knicks.
All right.
I think that was like 96 or some shit like that.
Well, like I said, I ain't trying to spend too much time on Scotty because, like I said, majority of that shit, he sounds crazy on. He does have a point on what his stats should be. Now, let's close out on one last question. Let's keep it simple. Don't make it long-winded. Scottie Pippen overrated?
I just kind of covered that a little bit when you went to the what you call him. So I said I think Scottie
No,
Pippen is probably where he should be.
I get that, but I'm saying as far as I know you covered it. I'm talking about just straight up where you feel like they have him at, and then where you have him at.
Damn, that's kind of hard. I know Scottie is Scottie Pippen. If I'm thinking about this, is Scottie Pippen top 50, and I think he might be top 50. So yeah, probably. I think he's probably right where he should be. I don't think he's overrated. I have seen places where they have him like top 20, and they got him over KG and shit like that, and they have him over like Barkley and people who played the same years as him but were better than him. But because of the accolades that he got, they have him overrated. So I think he's rated right, but in some circles he's overrated and underrated, if that makes sense.
All right. Well, I don't see what I really don't understand. He is in that Isaiah Thomas mix of ratings. I don't know if you ever paid attention to what Isaiah Thomas rated at, but I see him as high as fucking 19 and as low as 49. And I think that's the type of shit Scottie Pippen go through. I think people overvalue what he went through as a champion with Jordan, and then they undervalue what he went through as a champion with Jordan. Like he wasn't Klay Thompson or Steph Curry to Kevin Durant. He was a defensive anchor and assistant. So it's hard to put him above like former MVPs who actually stood out through the year, or even, I hate to say it, sometimes it's hard to put him above former defensive players of the year. Like, will he be in that Gary Payton area? It's like maybe not. Probably below Gary Payton, but it's weird because he got all these all defensive teams. So he'll probably just be in that area to me. As far as, and I think it's hard to say if he overrated or underrated because that's pretty much, you got to go by what he rated at, and he rated all over the place. I seen Scott Pippen high as 25 before.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that because I have seen places where they have Scottie Pippen at 20 and they have Clyde Drexler at like 47 or something, and it's like there's no fucking way that Scottie Pippen is that much higher than Clyde Drexler. Like, not when they was in the league. If you've seen them play together, he was not better than Clyde Drexler. Like, not while both of them were playing. But okay,
all right. So I think I walked you again on this one, but no hard feelings this time. You held up. You held up. I was like, man, look at him. He holding his own.
Man.
You got your feelings on the Chris Paul take, but you bounced back. You bounced back. Big love,
Hey,